successful uncle wrote me $1,000. And on the check, he wrote bye-bye in the memo. Like, oh, here's a $1,000 check, never seeing this again. Because he was hard, pretty hard on me. So that like really motivated me because I wanted one day to give him a check that was 10 times or 100 times worth that. And then, I've been with fundraising, with investors, I've been, rejected, turned down over 100 different times from investors and VCs, 100 different reasons why they, won't invest in the company. And so that like each one that said no, motivated me further.
I feel like he did that to light a flame, and he clearly did.
He clearly did.
Welcome back to the Tailored to You podcast. My next guest is Carson Goodale, and he is always pitching. I got to tell you, we do a pitch deck. We go through his elevator pitch because he is an entrepreneur. Hey, he's got that bug, and he is the co-founder of FanFood app. Carson and his team believe fans shouldn't miss one moment waiting in lines. And we talk about how Carson manages work-life balance and how he kind of struggled with that in the beginning, and also why he became a morning person that really set himself and the company up for success. Hey, I gotta say, I might be waking up at 6 a.m. tomorrow, Carson. Gotta get that millionaire morning in. He also shares with me his motivating factors, one being a sarcastic check from his uncle. And we really do bond over our experience with anxiety and being very impatient. And also, you're not gonna believe this one, but our cheerleading days. Yes, if you didn't know Carson was a cheerleader, you're gonna learn all about that on this episode. You're also gonna wanna stay tuned for Carson's story with Shark Tank Group member Daymond John and why he says he is always pitching. Please enjoy Carson Goodale. But yeah, so how has it been for you then? I mean, we're kind of going right into this convo. So I had like a little intro, but we might as well just keep going.
Yeah.
How has it been for you, like working and doing everything with COVID? I mean, especially with your business, FanFood app, having you do that virtually. Has that been a challenge at all?
Yeah, it has been. Our office was, pre-pandemic headquartered in downtown Chicago. And obviously I miss like the culture and like that everyday collaboration with my team. But as most of our employees are millennial. And I think like when the pandemic hit, like we were all, I think we like transitioned well to a fully kind of remote workforce. And for our business, definitely something that I think will probably stay, but probably like more of a hybrid kind of model, right? So I think, it was challenging, definitely, but the team responded really well to it.
Oh, I saw your River North location. I watched that day with Carson. So, you're in the elevator. That was so great. I loved when you were talking about the interns and you're like, everybody say hi. And everyone's like,
they're like, who is this crazy boss? But no.
You're like, you guys, we're promoting our company. Can you smile?
Yeah,
Get a little excited.
We're going to get a ton of leads from this, guys. Like, I need you to put your A game on. No.
The Cubs are calling. The Cubs are calling right now.
Exactly.
But I really do love the idea, really how FanFood app originated in a bar with your friends. I mean, if only my business ideas, became successful when I'm out drinking.
Yeah, right. I mean, we went to I went to the University of Iowa, and
go Hawkeyes.
I think the statistic back when I was in college is that we were the #1 party school. So I guess it came only naturally.
What bar were you at? Because I visited Iowa City a lot. My dad went to Iowa. My best friend Stephanie, roommate, went there. So it's a great town.
All right.
Great,
Are you
great
familiar
vibes.
with the Summit?
Yes, I know Summit. Brothers was, I think,
Credit.
the first bar I went to there.
Really? Yeah, that's a great bar. But yeah, no, Summit in the jungle gym upstairs there. So...
My dad, I think he bartended at Fieldhouse. I don't know is it still a thing?
It is. Yes. It's a good time.
Well, I remember when I visited Iowa, I mean, I also didn't apply, so I'm not over here like I turned Iowa down, but I was on the tour. We went up that hill, the iconic hill, and I was like, it's going to be a no for me. I just
Too much. Too much.
I couldn't do the hill. But going back to where this idea originated, I have to know what number beer made you snap and just think to yourself, I should be placing my drink order mobily? How many times were you walking up?
I don't know. We were actually at a tailgate there, so it was a good number into it. But I don't know. Maybe I was just complaining out of it, like it being too crowded. You know what I mean? Like I was just trying to be like there, enjoy the moment, experience with my friends, and
And so originally you all were at the bar. Were your co-founders there too when the idea was starting to be discussed?
No, not really. It's kind of a funny story. So my other co-founder, who came up with responsible for coming up with the name of FanFood, was actually pursuing a very similar, if not the exact same concept through like the University of Iowa's entrepreneurial program. And so like when I came up with the idea and I started working on it and I like learned that he was working on the same concept, I was like, did you steal my idea or am I stealing your, like, am I crazy right now?
Did I dream this? Were we actually at Summit? Am I making all of this up?
Did we just become best friends? Like, so no, I mean, that's like literally like how we started up. Like, instead of like working and like competing against, it's like, we might as well like partner up and see if we can't combine resources. At the time, I will admit that like, I think we were a little bit further along in the like MVP-ish stage. So we had kind of started building out a product and and he really came, and he had identified his first, like his high school that he went to was our first like customer. So it was just kind of like a match made.
Which I do think that 8-year-old who had the 3 orders at your launch date, I think he should maybe get like a lifetime credit for FanFood. What do you think?
I don't disagree. That's awesome that you did your research though.
Oh, well, thank you. But I loved when you were talking about that. Like you just lit up. You're like, actually, this 8-year-old boy ordered 3 orders, and it's just that. And you all had, I think you said, 20 orders out of 500 people. So even at that time, that must have been, you guys are probably over the moon, so excited. But then look at what you all started with. 20 now probably seems small, where you are now 6 years later.
Yeah, I was like, 20, that's an awesome number. It's like, they say like, was there ever that like aha moment where like you knew like you were on to like something big and it's like, not really, because it's like every stage of the business that we're in, there's always like a handful of other problems that you like have to solve for. And at the time, like, yeah, it was like really like fulfilling to see like your first orders coming through and you have like, some users, younger, obviously, but a good indication that of product market fit at the time. And we're like, okay, so we had 20 orders that night. We made about $20 in revenue. We're going to need a lot more schools and a lot more events to get it to where like we really want it to go. So like, yeah, it's been a crazy journey, especially with like the pandemic. That took quite a lot out of the team, obviously. But yeah, it's been crazy.
And it's so great to see you all still thriving and the company still steadily growing. But I think that's a large part of that is that you guys are able to adapt and you guys have been pivoting and finding new trends. Like I saw the cashless trend that's happening. I mean, you guys definitely have capitalized on that and like the touchless contact. So are there any other key trends that FanFood is looking to capitalize on or has this year?
I mean, I think you like kind of hit it like pre-pandemic. The trend in the kind of sports industry was like taking venues cashless, right? And the various benefits that you can like. And so like what we were trying to champion through FanFood was our product enables a better fan experience because fans can enjoy that experience and moment, why they're there, because they're there, more time in their seats and less time like waiting in lines. So
for all those impatient people like me, let's skip what is it? Life's too short. Let's skip the lines.
Exactly. So that's like what we were kind of trying to champion. And like what we saw during the pandemic was that the fan experience or the way that the industry was defining like what it meant to be like, what is providing a better fan experience look like, kind of changed. And it became more of how do we make fans feel comfortable in this crowded, congested environment? How do we make them feel safer? So aside from like the cashless and contactless trend that became accelerated overnight as the pandemic, I think that's another thing that trend that we've been trying to champion is like our technology, although it streamlines your ordering process and you have to wait in long lines, like the idea makes you feel safer because you're not having to wait with, all these other people who may or may not be contaminated, right? So
And the pre-order pickup or the
yeah.
pre-ordering and express pickup, that way they don't have to wait in those lines, like you said, be exposed. So you're still your mission from the start was the ultimate fan experience. I mean, and you being a sports fan yourself and your friends, and that's where it all, started at the bar. We don't know how many beers, but here we are 6 years later.
Yeah, exactly.
But it really is because, and that's why I think businesses and like entrepreneurial mindsets are so fascinating to me because like I'm like, what? Where's my idea? But I feel like it really does come from like what you need as a person and what you actually want. And you guys don't want to wait in lines. You don't want to miss the best play. But I also
Mhm.
feel like it might be a little bit deep down. Do you not want to miss the halftime and cheerleading performances and have you go relive your cheerleading days at Iowa?
Yeah, let's be honest. I was a cheerleader for a little bit at the University of Iowa, so I like to give the support where it's due. So yeah,
I was a
I'm a
cheerleader
fan of
too.
all the athletes in all forms, right? And cheerleaders are athletes too, so got to give some love to
Oh,
the athletes.
Oh, trust me, my whole life I've been trying to say that cheerleading is like I would say one of the hardest sports. Stunting,
Oh,
tumbling, it's insane.
totally.
And so that little tidbit about you, I think is so fascinating. Like,
No one knows that, and I don't. Yeah, that's surprising that you know that. Good for you.
well, I mean, I swear us cheerleaders, we'll find it. Maybe we should start a chant for FanFood app. Maybe we can like
Yeah.
create a cheer.
Sheesh. I don't know about that. I don't know about that. You might have to.
But I went to University of Kentucky and our cheerleading team, I'm sure you know, is like
Numero
the
uno.
best. Yes.
Yeah,
So I think that we actually, and I'm saying we as if like I was on the team, but
exactly
go
where.
Wildcats. But so I kind of want to go back to, because we're talking about your friends and how working with your best friends, co-founding. What is it like working with your friends? Do you ever run into any strifes? Spill the
Yeah, I
tea.
mean, I would say like it's definitely this is a kind of a touchier subject, I would say, because one of the co-founders is no longer with FanFood, and sometimes we just had to make tough decisions that like in order to like where we want to go, it's just we had to do it. Like if your values and stuff aren't fully aligned, sometimes you just kind of have to do that and have those decisions. And the relationships throughout the journey hasn't been like perfect by any means. There's been a lot of times where we haven't seen eye to eye, but like I'm grateful though today, like the co-founder, like Will and I, who like we have our relationship's great today. I mean, we've gone through hell and back like a few times now, so I think we can handle just about anything. And I think it's like we're better together when we like are supportive and stuff, knowing like the outcome that where we want to take it is the same and relying the same. And so it's not worth getting too upset about like the little things day in and day out. So we've been able to like really figure out like how to work well with one another. So
And it's, probably fun too. At the end of the day, you two can go back to Summit or wherever, grab that beer and come up with the new business model or discuss those things. But I was just wondering because I don't work with people like right now. My job, it's not like friends. And so I always wonder how that would work. I guess well, actually with my podcast, my friend Ryan over here, and we have a pretty relationship. He's waving, he's nodding. So he's agreeing.
yeah, I mean, like it's like I would say like literally for the last 6 years, one of my biggest problems, like personally, was being able to like shut off the work. So like a lot of people talk about like having a healthy work-life balance. Like I'm someone who did not have any of that. And so like when you bring a friend into the mix, that's like part of your work/life, work balance. Like it does really challenge your friendships because there is that business aspect to it. I don't know, like now I'm at a point where I've been able to figure out like that healthy balance, but also like that the friendship balance too. Like when I'm hanging out with Will, like we don't talk about fan food, right? Like
Oh, that's got to
it's
be
kind of
hard though.
yeah. Try not to, at least. I mean, at this point, but yeah, we try to like enjoy the moment, you know.
Yeah, well, you definitely should, because like I, for the longest time, would like edit and do all this stuff, and I was just like you said, the crazy work life. I did not have that, and I'm starting to just like let go. And
Yeah.
one of the quotes I love that you said was, "As a growing startup, there's never enough time and cash in a day." So it is, and like I literally was like, gosh, that's like so true. Like, you do you ever just like wonder like I wish I could just have one more hour of this night, or do you just go to bed?
I definitely used to feel that way, but now I've been really about like finding that work life balance, and like that email that can wait. You know what I mean? Oh, that project that I was working on. Do you really need to get it done by the end of the week, or can you like get it done the next couple weeks? Like so, like I don't know. I'm starting to really try to find that balance, and I think one of the especially like during the pandemic, I went into like this, because you can only control so much things, right? And there's a lot of things that are outside your control, and so like the way that I responded to it as a first time business owner, I like kind of buckled down and like tried to burden too much responsibility. And I think that led to really, really bad burnout, like on the personal side. But I learned that like it's okay to share like when things aren't going so well, and to like delegate responsibility when you are faced with a ton of challenges, and you don't have to like weigh all of that. It's like you don't have to take personal responsibility for that at the end of the day. So I think I'm just very intentional about like turning things off now. You know what I mean?
And that really resonated with me because I really try to tell myself if it's out of my control, it's out of my like. There's nothing you can really do. But it was interesting when you're talking about the pandemic and just personal struggles. I know that you've said before that transparency is so key to you, and just being open and honest. And you shared, your uncle passing during the pandemic. So I'm so sorry to hear about that. I feel that people can really connect then with you, your brand, because you're just transparent and honest. So is that something that from day one you really wanted to be authentic and transparent, or is that something that kind of evolved as you grew into the business?
I don't know. I think like I'd always like to imagine, that I've been like authentic and transparent.
You're like, I guess I wasn't fake when I started. I don't know.
Fake it till you make it. Bullshit.
Yes. I also believe fake it till you make it to a certain extent. You gotta.
Yeah, I think I'm a pretty good bullshitter at this point, or storyteller, depending on like whatever the however you want to like
flavor of the month.
It. Yeah, exactly. But no, like going through the pandemic and like going through those and facing a lot of those challenges, they're like I couldn't imagine like not being transparent like with the challenges and stuff at this point. Like it's just not good mental place to get, be in at the end of the day. So
well, and everybody was kind of relating too, because the pandemic, people are losing jobs. Like, I feel like something happened during the pandemic for everyone, whether it be just having to adjust to this new lifestyle, being cooped in at home. So just being able to talk about it, I feel like that definitely resonates with people. And you even said that millennials are like very big on like if they don't resonate with your brand, or if they don't connect with any brands, and they're not apt to move forward with that purchase or move forward with that connection.
Yeah, I definitely think that's an important piece, like especially what's like with everything that's going on. But it also feels like too, people are a lot more like empathetic, and people are like open to being like talk about mental health and talk about like challenges and struggles and trials and tribulations and everything. And I think like that's all positive.
I think it's so positive. And it was something, I forget who I was talking about this with, but I feel like when I was in high school, or even just like maybe 3 or 4 years ago, talking about having anxiety or anything like that wasn't common. But now people, I don't want to say it's common, but I feel like it's more of a fluid conversation. And like, it's not something like I have anxiety and I'm not embarrassed to share it. Like if you would have asked me 10 years ago, I would not, like Ryan, my audio guy, every time I get here, I'm like Carson, literally, I'm like I'm breathing, and then when the person comes on, I'm like, fake it till you make it.
Yeah, exactly. And I like, for me, like I have a little bit of a military background, and I like when I enlisted in 2012, going through basic training in AIT, it's a lot of it was like I didn't want to share because that's not mental. I'm not mentally tough if I have anxiety, or if I'm like depressed right now and going through these tough, like I got to show that I'm strong. But I think like true strength is being able to say, hey, I'm not okay right now, and I need a lot of help. And I think that's something I'm like still trying to deal with, like figuring out like how to ask for help. And because like part of my personality is like, I want to take on like any project, and I want to do it to like the best of my ability. But like sometimes it's like, yeah. So I'm still trying to work on that, you know?
Me too. But seriously, it's like anything I put my name on, I'm like, it has to be 100% perfect. But I'm like, nothing at the end of the day is going to be perfect. So you know what? Like I just, again, let it go to bed, no need. But another realization you had that really struck me was that you said that you are your biggest obstacle, and you weren't just talking about yourself. You're saying, you know, with everyone in general, that, you know, once we get over that part, that's the biggest challenge, and that's kind of overcoming that hump. So what have you managed to overcome within yourself that has set you and FanFood up for success?
Well, I think like the first thing is like I hate to bring up this whole notion of like work-life balance again, but I do really think it's like so important, because like the first thing I did was I became a morning person, actually. So like I get up pretty early. I have a really strong morning routine, and I think like that just sets your whole day up, right, for success.
Gosh, I can't get into the morning. I try so hard, Carson, but I feel like then I feel sick by like 2 p.m. Like I have like a headache.
Yeah, no, I'm telling you, like that has been a huge, because it like for me too, a lot of my time is spent like during the day, or now afternoon. Used to be morning and afternoon, but now intentionally afternoon for like external meetings. And I learned another thing about myself is that like I'm most creative in the morning or when I take showers. So like in the morning, that's when I like to get my projects and stuff done too. So block out my time in the morning. I like to read, get that done in the morning.
We got an intellectual over here, business owner, reader.
Yeah, I know. I I like to read a little bit. Got quite a number of books in the background.
Yes, you do. Gosh. What's the book of the moment? I just listened to Matthew McConaughey's Green Lights.
Yeah, what did you
Audible. Take? Well, okay, we were driving, my boyfriend and I were driving in Utah, and like I was kind of, you know, in and out listening, falling asleep. So I can't really say I listened to the whole thing. When he listens to this, he's going to be like, I don't think you knew one thing. But I like the sound of Matthew McConaughey's voice, and his stories are funny. So yeah, that's what I'll say. I
agree with you. That was the first Audible that I mean, that counts as reading, right? Like
it's like a podcast. I feel like you're absorbing it.
Yeah, so that's the first book that I absorbed this year, and I thought it was really good too. But I also, you know, sometimes some things get lost in translation, and it's probably need to go back and re-listen to a couple of chapters. I agree. The book that I'm reading right now, I have it sitting right in front of me, is it's kind of nerdy, Amazon Management System.
Oh, we got a little plug. Who's the author?
Ram Charan. He is literally a genius, business advisor for a lot of like Fortune 500 companies. He got a business and master's degree from like Harvard, like just brilliant mind. I like it because it's short. I'm not a big fan of like long books.
Oh, that's why I never read Twilight books. Literally, yeah. I remember I was in elementary school. My friends would teach. I'm like, that's too big for me.
Big.
It's scary.
Bigger than like how like I can stretch the. Like, yeah. I just don't.
There's width parameters for me. 1000%.
Exactly. So it's like short, it's sweet, it's to the point, it's concise, it has a ton of information that's helpful that I can like use it for like my business. So it's pretty good.
Well, that's great. The morning routine thing, it's like they say it's like the millionaire morning where you get up early, you do all these things, and I actually listened to the podcast. The FanFood app has a podcast, which I thought was so cool. We're little podcasters over here. Yeah. And the host, Rob Cressy, said that he primes his mind in the morning with affirmations and his intentions for the day.
Yep.
And one of my guests, Natalie Craig, I had on, she does positive affirmations, and I've been really trying to incorporate that in my day. And so I wonder if you prime your mind in the morning.
Totally. I totally do. I do a little bit of morning meditation. It's the best time to do it. And then I'm not as good at doing this, but I've been making an intentional habit of like writing like positive things that have happened, because like for me, a lot of my time, like now it's like, you know, I like to like think that I'm making a meaningful like contribution like every day and like adding value every day. And so it's like, that's a pretty subjective like thing. Like, did you add value today? And so is like, did you do this project or reply to this email that took a lot of time to think on it? Or did you send a contract? Did someone else initiate, that? Like, did someone else sign a contract? Oh, so are you responsible for moving the needle? Like,
You're huge on accountability.
totally, totally, totally. And I'm like, probably a little hard on myself, but I think that like, maybe that's like some military, ethos that I've learned. But
Which thank you for your service, by the way. We kind of
no,
breezed over that.
yeah, but no, I mean, I just think it's important. It makes me feel good that I'm making like a meaningful contribution every day. So just like writing that down, it's like, don't be so hard. Like, yeah, this was good or that,
Well, and Rob said that he writes or he reads every morning to himself, I'm the happiest person in the world. And I was like, wow, like that's such a powerful statement. He's such an interesting guy.
Yeah, no, I'm like, it's crazy like how happy he is all the time. Like totally an inspiration, trying to emulate that, but it's hard to be that happy all the time. Like
you can only fake it till you make it to a certain extent.
Exactly. Like I'd be lying if I said I was happy all the time.
But it's so true too, like how earlier you said being intentional about everything is really important to you and making that impact. And you've said that no excuses, you're the one in control. And so are there ever days where you just like let go of that control?
100%. Like some days I'm like, I don't really feel like doing anything today. But and maybe I'm like intentional about that, right? Like
sometimes you have to, like last night, my girlfriend and I went and so literally we like brought our computers and we were like going over Foxtrot. We were totally planning to be productive. And then, a bottle of wine later. And we were like, you know what? Like, it's just good for the soul. Like sometimes you just need it. And I feel like I like recoup for today. And I was like, oh my God, I get to see Carson today. Like it was a new vibe. I woke up the happiest person in the world.
Feel better,
shout out Rob.
Yeah. So shout out Rob.
Kind of going to the beginning of FanFood app, when you were first debating starting, you told yourself you don't want to look back in 5 or 10 years and ask yourself, what if? So now 6 years into the business, what do you tell yourself to stay motivated to grow the company?
Oof. A big piece that motivated me growing up was like proving people wrong. So I have
that in me too. I don't know why.
You could probably see it over this right here next to the cactus is a check from my uncle who passed away in the summer. And it was for $1,000. And so when I graduated college and I was getting serious about doing FanFood full time, right? I asked my family and friends, we co-founders and I had a party, raised some money from our family and friends. That's kind of like the first step you take in your entrepreneurial kind of journey. And my successful uncle, wrote me $1,000. And on the check, he wrote bye-bye in the memo. Like, oh, here's $1,000 check. I'm never seeing this again. Cause he was hard, pretty hard on me. And that I was like, so that like really motivated me because I wanted one day to give him a check that was 10 times or 100 times worth that. And then, I've been, with fundraising, which investors I've been, rejected, turned down over 100 different times from investors and VCs to, 100 different reasons why they, won't invest in the company. And so that like each one that said no, motivated me further. And so I think like that was a big piece. Granted, it's not something that really motivates me as much anymore.
Well, you have it framed, so it's definitely a daily reminder. That's such a cool concept. And I feel like he did that to light a flame. And he clearly did. He clearly did.
And so I think like, a little bit to this day, like, someone says no or something, and you're like, I think I've also been pretty intentional about not taking business things too personally. I think I get a little emotional sometimes, and that's probably carries on. But a big thing that like motivates me now is like just making a meaningful contribution. Like, how can I be helpful? It's like helping someone else is really motivating. I get a lot of satisfaction in like helping other people be successful. And I think that's probably a key driver in my motivation today. So,
well, and it is with FanFood app, creating that impact. During COVID, you guys ended up kind of pivoting. Well, everyone had to, but to do local restaurants, and you guys are commission free, which I didn't realize that. because one of my good friends has a restaurant, and they would tell us, don't, do Uber Eats or DoorDash through, just call directly and have it picked up, or because then they, I don't know all the legality of it, but I think it's so awesome that you guys do that.
Yeah. One of the kind of key programs that we created was a concept called Building Eats. So we partnered up, we would bring food trucks and restaurant meals to residential buildings. And so we would kind of like through our platform schedule or enable that service where like when you're in any residential building, I think we have like, over 100 downtown Chicago now, where we have these scheduled services. And, we can bring, meals that, to your point, like are commission free. And like the whole thesis was we can schedule an event and tell a restaurant that you are going to deliver 50, meals to this building on Tuesday between 6 and 7 o'clock, and it's commission free. That's pretty impactful when you consider like a family meal that has a higher dollar, ticket amount on average for a business that's like desperately needing it. That's something that was like really exciting for us, something that like very impactful that really motivated the team to continue to carve it out. And like where we're at today from a business perspective is like, we're still testing and iterating that business model to see if it's worth scaling up and like allocating, more dollars to it. And yeah, so it was definitely a fun program to be a part of.
And just in general too, I mean, I feel like COVID is just an example, but your business regardless would have evolved and changed, especially with it being technology driven. So it's just kind of the fact of the matter, and the fact it's really great to see what you guys are doing. And like, I also was on your all's website, and every order placed on the platform, you all donate a meal to a local food bank through Feeding America. So you also have this mission to end hunger. I mean, I feel like this is over here, like you're doing it all.
Hey, everybody in this world deserves good food, period.
I'm such a foodie, 1000%. I'm thinking about what I'm gonna eat after this.
Exactly. Me too.
Always on my mind, I swear.
Exactly. So, and Chicago has some pretty great eats. So yeah, no, I like love that, especially like when in sports and like live entertainment, like it's cool to like really increase the fan experience. But like, to your point, it makes a real difference when that like with each order, it's going to a good cause in this like local area, and it makes a difference. And I think like as a consumer that's like ordering off this technology, like that would make me feel better. So that's kind of like the whole premise of like why we do that. Having
that intention kind of all comes full circle. But was motivation also for you a little bit to move out of your dad's basement? Because I lived at home too, and that was a big motivator for me.
A huge motivator. I was in dad's basement for like 7 months or something, like after I graduated. Like that can only last for so long. You know what I mean?
I did a year. I think my parents would have been willing to just like look for apartments. So I was like, there's this place in Old Town open. I'm like, do you want me to leave? And she was like, it might be for the best. Like it was mutual.
Yeah, no, like I was fortunate enough because I had a buddy who is living in northern kind of part of Chicago. And he's like, yeah, I have an extra like room. My roommate just moved out. He's going to be gone for a couple, 2 or 3 months. Then he's coming back. So you can like stay with me for like, 2, 3 months. I'm like, all right. Perfect. I was like, bye, Dad. I'm out. I'm up to Chicago.
Kind of dip your feet in the water too. See if it's a city for you.
Exactly. And then I had some friends, and then we're able to get a spot in Wrigleyville. And then I was there for 3 years, which was an awesome time.
But speaking of your dad, I found it really interesting that he created the architecture for your app. It seems like you really have the right people in your back pocket. If only my dad knew how to edit my podcast episodes.
That's awesome. Yeah. He, in the early days, super helpful in getting the basic foundation of, FanFood built. I mean, I'm not a technical co-founder, and let's just say like it's best for everyone on the FanFood team that I'm not, because I would probably end up breaking something. I know just enough to be dangerous, and that's where I like to keep it, right? So
I'm on the same page. Ryan, my audio guy sitting over here, literally had to set up the Zoom settings while I was sitting here. So if that tells you anything.
Yes, I know my strengths and weaknesses, and yes, code, not one of them. But Dad was super helpful, like in the early days too. Like he was hands-on, and then we had to like hire offshore overseas development to help. And like, he was super helpful in like helping product manage the early foundation of our platform. So yeah,
How was it working with your dad? Was that fun?
It like, to a point, and then my dad basically had to sit me down and be like, look, I'm happy to help you, but like he was already like a hard worker because he had me at an early age. He had a full-time job, and then like he had an entrepreneurial bug, so he would be working in the mornings and the evenings. So like, obviously he didn't quit his full-time job to like help FanFood in the early days. He would still do that in the mornings and like after work. And so there came to, up to a point where it was like, I was starting to get like, Dad, you're starting to fall behind, pick up the slack. And he was
You're on deadline, Dad. Come on now.
Yeah. And he was just trying to be helpful. So there like came to that like breaking point where he's like, look, I need you to like, I'm going to help you get to like a certain point, and then you need to kind of like take it and then like start to get other help. So
it's also as you're like eating his groceries, living in his house, and you're like, Dad, dude, it's due in an hour.
yes. We got to shift.
I would do the same thing
now. Like, yeah.
But I just thought that was really honestly fascinating that he has that, tech background to be able to go to your dad and, I'm starting an app. Can you help with that?
Yeah.
And so the entrepreneurial bug you said your dad had, when did you always have the entrepreneurial mindset?
No, I mean, like maybe I did. I don't know. I used to paint rocks and sell them at the garage sale days in the local town. So who knows? I studied finance at the University of Iowa, and I think I was planning to go the traditional investment banking or equity research analyst, like path out of college. But glad I went the entrepreneurial route. I've learned a lot. So
and like ROTC, cheerleading, you really kept yourself busy. Like talk about someone who's just like, again,
yes.
If only there was more than 24 hours in a day.
I bit off more than I could chew. That's why the cheerleading didn't last too long, and had to focus in on, a few things.
So what got you into cheerleading? I do wonder that. Did you do it in high school?
No, I played basketball and football in high school. I lived on a co-ed floor my freshman year at Iowa, and there was a I became really close friends with the Iowa cheerleader, and she's like, oh, you should come to like an open gym. It's going to be like super fun. And I was like, all right. She's
You're like trampoline in a foam pit. I'm in.
She goes, you learn how to do a backflip. And I always like wanted to learn how to do a backflip. Like that's like it. So I went to the open gym. Their like coaches like took me through like a pretty like regimented process. Like step one was like trying to like bring your knee, like lay on the ground, bring your knees to your chest, and like do that like 20 times. And then it was stand up, do that same thing, but standing up. And then they had someone behind me to like catch me. And then after like doing that a bunch of times, I like did my first flip after like, at an open gym, and they were like, you might be like pretty good at this, come back. So I came back to like 2 or 3 more, and then they asked me to like join the team. And then, yeah.
Gosh, that's so cool. Seriously, jack of all trades. Trades. Again, I'm not good. Every single episode, I swear I say I'm not good with phrases. I need to like, it's like a broken record at this point. I need to just, the listeners know. But jack of all trades.
I wouldn't have noticed until you brought it up. Just saying.
Okay, that's another thing. Actually, okay, we're going to be vulnerable right now. Total character defect. I will like call out things that I do wrong, which I think is just, I feel like people do that in general, but I'm like, my roommate will always say to me, she's like, nobody needed to know that. Like nobody needs to know that you got like blackout last night, and like they weren't with you. So why are you telling like your boss that you like might be a little hungover? Like, you know what I mean? Like I think that they know. So I'm like telling them. Do you do that?
Yeah. Not anymore. I used to, but then there came to a point where it's like, there's maybe some information that I like shouldn't divulge. You know what I mean?
I need to work on that major.
Yes. I recommend. No, I'm kidding. No, I'm kidding.
This is becoming a self-help podcast.
Don't overthink it. Just you do you. All right.
Yes.
You're doing a great job.
Oh my gosh. Thank you. You always got to do like, what is it? Like end with a positive.
Yes, exactly.
But I did watch, I know we talked about that Day with Carson. It was a YouTube video where, you're showing your day. And it was interesting. You really do implement your business model in your day to day. You went into Starbucks, you had your coffee order, and you literally said, I'm all about efficiency, skipping lines. Like, you
Yes.
live it.
Yeah, I had very process oriented and structured from the very beginning. Wanted to be very efficient with how I use my time. Now that we're working, from remote, I do still drink coffee. I just elect to do the Folgers from the Hy-Vee downtown. So, save some money too, because that can get kind of expensive when you use the Starbucks app every day. So.
Oh, you're telling me I didn't drink coffee until I started working full time. And I'm like, what? I'm like, I have to whiten my teeth now. I'm paying all this. I'm buying Keurig cups. Like it's an
Adds
investment.
up. It adds
It
up.
does add up. But I mean, come on, we do all get impatient with the lines. Do you consider, and like I know that's the business model. That was why you all decided to do FanFood app. Let's not miss the plays. Let's get our beers, but right to our seat. And so, in a way, though, do you consider yourself impatient?
Yes, definitely. That's why I am not a technical developer, because I don't have the patience for it. People close to me would probably say that I can be impulsive at times and a bit spontaneous, but I think that's can be a positive thing too.
Yes. No, there's always a flip. Because here's what I'm thinking too is like I usually consider I'm pretty impatient. I work on it, and I consider that a character flaw. But then when I was learning about you, I'm like, I feel like in this way, impatience actually is the driving factor. So it ended up being a good thing.
Use it to your strength all day, for sure. Like, I don't have time for no. Yeah, I've learned patience though. I've learned patience.
Patience is a virtue.
It's what
That'll be my my Monday or my morning prime.
Yes, exactly.
I am patient. Yes. I really, really love Shark Tank. Okay, like I'm obsessed with Shark Tank, and when you met Daymond John, did you pitch FanFood?
Oh, for sure. The first time, yeah.
How could you not?
Yeah, absolutely. He knew all about it. And then the kind of cool thing is, a year later when I saw him, we got lunch. He's like, so how's FanFood doing? He remembered. So that was kind of cool.
So you all just like got lunch? Like, what is this status? Do you have an email? Do you have a contact?
I do have his phone number, which is pretty cool too. But
we're name dropping over here.
Yeah. What's up? Shout out.
Yes. Daymond John's a subscriber, so don't worry, he'll listen. He's probably gonna reach out to us soon.
Yeah, that's fine. Read his book, Power of Broke. It's a great one.
I feel like, yeah, we almost need to like a book club, and you just like give all your like in the podcast notes. We need to list like your book recommendations for how to be successful in business, because I feel like you definitely have a catalog.
Yeah, I could probably recommend 2 or 3 books.
Okay, well, let's include them. And I might be getting them too. I could definitely use it. I'm applying for credit cards over here, trying to be into the points.
Yes, I'm happy to.
So what was it like though meeting Daymond? I'm really intrigued because I think he's awesome. Mr. Wonderful is not really my fave. I like Daymond.
No, the first time I met him, I had a certain opinion that wasn't probably the most positive. I was like, this guy, like, he kind of sucks. And then like he's all about himself, like all this stuff, and I was just kind of like hating on him. And then the second time I was like, this guy is a very genuine, awesome person, and I should not have judged a book by its cover. No pun intended. So I think he's like an awesome guy. And,
have you ever thought about going on Shark Tank?
So we did apply, or they reached out for us to go online, but because I guess there was like a rule that because Daymond already knows about me and FanFood, that disqualified us from going on the show, unfortunately.
Oh my gosh. So it's almost like if you go to these meetings and meet people, then you're at a disadvantage. So I'd almost be like locking my lips and then be like, you'll see me on season 2.
Yes, but I'm also an open book, like fake it till you make it type thing. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm always be pitching wherever I'm going. So if I met, a person like Daymond, I'm like, of course I'm going to, share what I have going on. So
Always be pitching. I like that. And it honestly, I love how I literally, after I said, oh, I'm going to lock my lips. I'm of all people, after we just talked, I can't do that. So I'd be like, before I can even say my name, I'd be like, oh, FanFood app. I would just be like doing the elevator pitch immediately. So what if, let's say you're on Shark Tank. Let's just, say you're walking in those doors. What would be FanFood's elevator pitch?
you ready? I can
I'm
do it.
ready. Let's do it.
So you want to do a recording, like a timer, 30 seconds.
Okay, yeah, I'll set a timer.
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna start. Ready?
45. Give me 45 seconds.
45 seconds. Okay, ready? Go.
As a diehard sports fan, there is nothing more frustrating than missing a big play because you were stuck waiting in a line for a hot dog and beer. FanFood keeps you in the moment. Our app allows fans to order concessions straight from their seat, and they can either skip the line through express pickup or get it delivered. You can download our app on the iOS and Android store today, or by visiting our website at fanfoodapp.com. Period.
Oh my
Time.
gosh, 30 seconds, 30:63.
30. Boom.
And I almost would
You
give
know,
you 30 because was like, I'm like, is he done, Okay, Carson, that was killer.
Is that good?
Yes, that was so good. And you really got to the point. And I also feel like we haven't talked that much. I mean, I'll give you an intro and everything about FanFood, but that really gave the listeners what it's all about. So for those listening, download the app, go to a Cubs suite.
That is all. I've had a great mentor of mine, Raj, which I definitely need to give him a shout out. He, in the early days, helped a lot with our storytelling, and the elevator pitch was one of the things that he helped us. And he put it in a framework that was called your K PASA. So like your so what, right? PASA being what's the problem, how do you approach it, what's your solution, and then you finish it off with the ask or call to action. So
No,
yeah.
I mean, it seemed very structured. I almost was like, is this a sticky note on his computer? Like, it was very to the point, to the T.
In my head at
Always
this point.
pitching, never bitching.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but I thought of never bitching right now.
No,
Always pitching. Gosh, okay, that was great. So are you ready for a game?
sure,
And this
bring
is
it.
kind of like what we
Love
just did.
games. I love
Okay,
games.
me too. I wish we could have a beer. I wish we were doing this at Summit together, but we'll have to connect after these COVID times.
Definitely.
So I thought it'd be, since you're that entrepreneurial mindset, we're gonna play pitch deck. So you're going to be convincing me and the listeners why we should invest in these startups.
And what startup? I'm selling my own startup.
So I'm gonna list them for you. So the first one, and you'll do this one, you'll do the pitch, quick. I mean, but really, again, you can think about these.
Right.
I don't want you to feel if you're on the spot too, just let me know. But I thought it'd be kind of fun to do with you, especially after just hearing your elevator pitch. I mean, I feel like you're gonna kill this game.
Let's bring it.
So this startup, it's like Tinder for dogs.
Okay. Pitch that. Sell it. So am I renting, am I looking for a dog?
So how I envisioned it was the dogs, like you were trying to match the dogs. So for
I'm
breeding.
dogs. Oh, yes.
And then the dog had how they have prompts. Like the dog would have the prompts listed.
Yeah. I want to say something like we live in a world where we need constant attention, and everybody in Chicago has a dog, it seems like, right? And we all are working at that 9 to 5, and we are working to make income to then generate passive income. And so now we can with this solution literally have the best of both worlds, where we can have a dog, match it, and create a beautiful outcome of a puppy, and then make awesome revenue, passive income, while creating a more beautiful world with pets that you enjoy. And
Holy
so you
shit.
should totally like check this like app out because it's revolutionizing the way you experience dog breeding.
I mean,
I don't know.
I'm clapping over here right into the mic. But like, I love how you made it about like then like a bit. I mean, obviously the startup, but then you turned it into how that millennial I'm envisioning can make money.
Yeah, so it's like I'm gonna tell you how to make money and make the world a better place, and like that is a
And like
startup.
pimp out your
Like,
dog. If you have a
and
beautiful Afghan hound with like the luscious hair, I don't know if you know what an Afghan hound is, but look them up. Yeah, like that would be a great way to pimp her out.
I totally agree.
Okay, that was great. You ready for the next one?
I guess.
I think you are. It's like Chuck E. Cheese for parkour.
It's like Chuck E. Cheese. Wow, that sounds like so fun.
Parkour.
Like, I've been like literally cooped up inside for the last like 12 months. And wouldn't it be like super great if we could just get outside and go somewhere to like relieve stress, get a great workout, and, you know, learn a trick or two? I don't know. So you should like check out this like fun filled zone with your buddies and do a couple of tricks. It's like, you know, parkour for like Chuck E. Cheese. It's like everyone's doing it. You should do. Like,
That was great. Everyone's doing it. You should too. And if
yeah, everyone's
you
doing
always
it.
got to end with that, just do it. And then you also, we have to make sure that Chuck E. Cheese pizza is there. So that's also a driving
Yeah, and
factor.
it's also sponsored by like Nike too. So
So it's almost, if you don't go, you're not doing anything right. Like that's just part of
Yes.
your day.
yes, it's the
Doesn't that
future.
sound fun though? Like, I mean, I
athletes.
also like can't like parkour, but that just seems like a fun situation to relieve stress. Gosh, you nailed it.
I think so. It could be a good time for sure.
Also, maybe people would go there and then decide they want to be on the Iowa cheerleading team, learn a few flips.
Pretty much how I got started.
Yes.
So if you want to come to an open gym.
Okay, the next one. It's like edible arrangements for slowly poisoning someone.
Sounds tasty. It's like edible arrangements, but slowly poisoning someone. Am I getting
Yes,
that
I'm a little
right?
bit evil when I constructed that one.
Wow. What the hell am I selling? Like,
It's almost like, are you selling
You
to go to
haven't-
jail? Like,
you have like an evil enemy. Like, the problem in this world is that there is so much hate and racism going on. So we want to be nice to those evil people and send them like, you know, edible arrangements and kill them. It's a slow, painful death, but it's tasteful. So if you really just don't like somebody, send them this product and kill them. There's no ramifications what's going to happen. Like,
I love how you said it's tasteful.
fully supported, fully supported and backed by
Actually,
the
the
U.S.
CDC
government.
recommends it.
The CDC is recommending that
It's on
you
the
do
website.
it. It's safe and edible, and everyone's doing it.
Everyone's doing it. And like now, whenever someone will eat a chocolate covered strawberry, they're like, but which one is it? Which one?
I'm literally.
Did I piss off my boss yesterday?
I'm gonna think twice now about eating, and like I love chocolate dipped fruit.
Me too.
Like, it doesn't even matter. Like, it could be any fruit, and just like, I'm down.
It's like those
You know?
cakes that you don't even know if it's a cake, and it's like you cut into it. Like it's like so deceiving if chocolate covers it. You'll eat it no matter what. Okay, last one. It's like
These are getting hard. Yeah.
it's like FanFood app for breakup sex.
Ooh. It's like FanFood app
Ryan's looking at me like, who do you think you are?
for breakup sex. It's like FanFood app for. That's a tough
Each
one,
episode,
too.
something happens where I say something like kinky or something that I
And this
shouldn't.
has no like, correlation to like the chocolate dipped fruit that like kill you too, or is that like part
Ooh.
of the breakup? Like I knew this boy or girl like did something wrong to me, so like, but they were still great in bed. So like, I want to get back at them by ordering like through this app, exclusive app that like only, people that, go through bad relationships are allowed on. It's like the verification process. Like you must have had like a bad or going through a bad breakup phase. It's like, babe, pause. We're about to break up, or we did break up, but we're in this phase where now I'm like verified to go on this app and like order some shit so that, we can have better breakup sex. It just so happens that it's chocolate dipped fruit
and oysters, aphrodisiacs.
And yeah, it's going to be a fun night.
Oh my gosh, you're such a good sport. That was so fun. I hope they didn't get too weird on you. But I always had to throw something. I swear on a last podcast, like a hand job was mentioned. I don't know. Sometimes, you don't know where this conversation is going to go.
Yeah, no, those were some curveballs. I'll be honest, I was not expecting that on the podcast, but hey, we'll roll with it. It was a good time.
Oh my gosh, I'm so glad. Well, Carson, seriously, it's so been fun meeting you, learning about FanFood app, and just your story and your journey. And I can't wait until your pitches are, I'm telling you got to get on Shark Tank or something soon because you're a class act. So where can everyone follow you on social media and find FanFood?
I'm not like too big on social media. Like Instagram and Twitter, just like Carson Goodale. And then, for FanFood, Twitter's FanFood On Demand. You can go to our website, fanfoodapp.com. Follow us on LinkedIn. Marketing does an awesome job of posting like regular content on everything around fan experience, technology trends in the sports live entertainment space, contactless and cashless, obviously. That's where you can get a hold of us.
You got to plug it. You always got to, you're always pitching.
Always be pitching.
Thank you so much, Carson.
This was fun, Taylor. Thanks.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Taylor to You podcast. Subscribe on Apple, Google, Stitcher, Spotify. Leave us a rating and review, and follow on Instagram and Facebook at T2U Podcast. And I really do encourage you to make this podcast tailored to you. So go ahead and visit T2Upodcast.com and submit questions you might have for me, for the guests, types of guests you want to see on, possibly you. Send it in. Topics of interest, really anything you want. And let's keep talking on Tuesdays.